on just a second.
Okay,
Sorry.
you're fine. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. How old are you? Where you from?
I'm 32 from Iowa.
Okay. Hey, we just gonna go through these questions, Nicole, and just answer them, with honestly about how you feel about them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the first question, Nicole, is: do childless men between the ages of 25 to 40 prefer to have children with women 35 plus or women in their mid 20s to early 30s? What do you think?
I would agree to the mid 20s to early 30s
Why do you
because
agree with that?
just in my opinion, I feel. Hold on, honey. Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Okay, here. I'll get him in a minute. Okay, I'll be in a minute. There you go. I agree. I'm sorry.
You're
So
fine.
I agree that I feel like they want a woman that's younger that I don't know, that kind of wants they're kind of on the same level. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that age difference, like an older man, just like when I was married to somebody, I'm divorced now, but
Hmm.
he was older and I felt like we wanted the same things with that age gap that we were, not maturity, I should say, but like our wants, like a man at that age and a woman at a younger age is usually a good match for like family dynamics or I don't know how to explain it. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, in addition to that, I mean, you're a woman. I mean, just for like fertility purposes, like, and I'm a young man, but like, even men, even though we're men, we know that, like, we know about geriatric pregnancy. We know that as women get older, their eggs reduce. We know that they're like good
Right.
eggs, even the eggs that they do have, the good ones become reduced. Like the good eggs become smaller. We know that as women get older, they there's certain complications that they could possibly have when it comes to having children. They're more like they're more subjected to those type of things. So like I said, whether the man is 25, whether he's 30, whether he's 35, whether he's 40, they don't have a preference. They're not going to be running to women that are like 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40 to be having children with. They're going to be looking for
Right.
susceptible. Thank you, Rooter. Thank you, Rooter. Susceptible. They're going to be looking for women that are in their mid 20s to early 30s. Like, like in 33, 33 might be a hard cutoff for some, but like 25, 20, even early 20s if a woman wants to have children that early, but they're going to be looking for a woman that's like at her mid 30s tops. Not going to be looking for a woman,
Right.
I'm sorry, early 30s. Not going to be looking for a woman in her mid or late 30s to run and have kids with. But let's go to the
Okay,
second
honey.
question, Nicole. So, do you think most, not all, do you think most men between the ages of 25 and 40 that date older women have serious long-term plans with them? And when I say older women, I'm talking about like at least I'm talking about women in their like starting in their mid 30s. So like 35, 36. I'm 25, right? And
Hmm.
I'm working right now. I don't plan on having children anytime soon. I don't plan on getting married anytime soon. So do you think like someone my age or even like, someone in their late 20s, if they're dating an older woman, do you think that most of those men have serious long-term plans with that woman as far as like getting married and having a family and things of that nature?
To be honest, no.
Why
I've
you feel
seen
that
this
way?
happen all. I've just personally seen it happen all too often. I feel like at first it's a fun interaction, you feel that connection, but then it kind of turns into the woman wants more serious to be more serious, and the man's like, "Wait a second, I thought I was ready for that, but I'm totally not." You know what I mean?
and
Like I
and it,
just
it and it may not even be an instance to where he thought he was ready for it. It's just that
right.
at that young of an age and him being a man, he has time to kill. Like he could date a
Hmm.
35-year-old or a 37 or a 38-year-old for a year, and it's not going to like it's not going to like, put any like, it's not going to dock him at all by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I agree with you. Especially in our culture, like it's more of a thrill than anything for a younger
Yeah.
man to be dating or doing stuff with an older woman.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as like having serious long term plans with them, more times than not, he's not going to. Okay. Um, do you think a woman's education, accomplishments, career, success, etc., increases her marriage prospects in a man's eyes?
See, that's iffy because it depends on the man. It really does. Like, some men want a woman, it doesn't matter. Like, my ex husband, for instance, he wanted somebody to be home with the kids, and he wanted to provide. Even though I wanted to work, he wanted to be the provider of the family. So
Mm-hmm.
he looked more for a good mother, a good somebody to clean and cook, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just
Right.
different men prefer different things. You know what I mean? Um, I would say for the most part, and it just depends how the man's, how they were brought up, or was their mom that struggled and raised them on their own, or and the dynamics of like what their life goals are. So that one is honestly, there's no way to answer that for me, just
Okay.
because every man's so different in that aspect.
True, and that's fair. But do you think do you think there's a good amount of women that think like not like, forget about like you said, every man is different, but do
Hmm.
you think that there's a good amount of women that think that the more educated they are, the more accomplishments, the more successful they become, that they're going to be seen as more marriage or wifey material in a man's eyes? Do you think there's a lot of women that feel that way?
Absolutely. I
Hey
feel like
Joey, how
there
you doing?
is. I mean, I surround the people I know personally. I feel like a lot of them are my age and they're not married or they're divorced, and they feel like if they would have done more with their life or with themselves, they feel like they would be married currently. Or like, a lot of people have came to me personally and said, "Do you think if you would have went with your education and furthered yourself in college or whatever, that your marriage would still be?" I don't know. Like, a lot of women feel like I'm horrible about explaining things.
You're
Like, a
fine.
lot of a lot of women I know personally feel like they need to come to the table with as much as possible because a man is ahead in a relationship. Like, I don't want to say like the man's like a master or anything, but a man is superior in the relationship. And that's my belief and a lot of women's beliefs. A lot of women want to not believe that, but that's how it is. Um,
And what if I okay, like we said like every man is different. Like you said, that kind of question depends. Like the question kind of depends on the man. But if I said that there were men, Nicole, because like even like you said, your ex husband, he wanted to like be the provider and protector of the family, so he wanted you to
mhm,
stay at home and take care of the kids and do all that domestic stuff. For men that like know their position and their obligation in a relationship as far as being a provider, being a protector, if he finds you attractive and he likes your personality and he likes your character, um you know your education and your accomplishments and all of that most of the time is not really gonna like be like a deciding factor on if he wants to pursue you for a serious long-term relationship or not. And
right.
what I'm about to say sounds really bad, but I asked you the question about like the woman feeling that if they bring this, that, if they have this, that's gonna make them more marriage material. At the end of the day, Nicole, like if a man like men are like very physical and visual. Like if a man doesn't like find a woman attractive, it doesn't matter what success she has or what success she doesn't have. Like if a man doesn't find her attractive, her letting him know that, oh, I have like a master's and a PhD and this, that, and the third
Right.
is not going to make him more attracted to her.
Right.
It sounds bad, but it's the truth. Like they're always gonna see you for like they're always gonna like try to see if it's always with men. It's always gonna be like, do I find her physically attractive? And then when I find her, if I find her physically attractive, now let me see if I actually like her as a person. Let me see if I actually like her personality and like her character. But it's
Right.
not men going around here like, man, I need a woman that got a master's or a PhD. And hey, Taik, how you doing? But what do you have to say? What's your thoughts on what I just said? Like your honest thoughts.
I agree with that. I just feel like what I'm saying is I feel like a lot of women feel like they need to have that to show that at the table when they meet a man. Like I feel like a lot of women feel like because they're not superior, they're the woman of the relationship that they feel like they have to. Not because of men. Men didn't do it. It
Uh huh.
just that's nature. That's how it works. You know what I mean? So like a lot of women, especially nowadays, like women are all of us, we feel like we're trying to be as equal as possible. You know what I mean? So like some of us are set in our old ways. Like I've always been a believer, even if the woman works, the man is the man of the house. He is the one who calls the shots, you know what I mean, of the home. So like I feel like a lot of women, the more equal we become, I feel like a lot of women try to become over a man sometimes because they feel like otherwise they're way under a man. If that
Yeah.
makes sense. I
No,
don't know.
I understand. I understand. I like 100% understand what you're saying. I just think that if a woman is like wanting to be out here, like aspiring for her master's or her PhD and trying to do
Mhm.
all this other stuff, I think she should be doing that for herself, Nicole, and
Right.
not doing it because she thinks that that's going to increase like her marriage prospects or like have men look at her as more wifey material. Because
Right.
if we be all the way real, Nicole, like you know you having I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just talking about women in general. You going for your masters and your PhD and doing all this other stuff, you're also accumulating a lot more debt while you're doing that. So like you would be coming to a man with a lot of baggage, if you will. And I don't know if baggage is the appropriate term to use or not, but
Mhm.
like I'm just saying, I think a woman should be doing that stuff for herself and not because she
Right.
think she's gonna be more attractive to a man because of it. Because truth is, like, if a man don't even find you like physically attractive in the first place, it's not gonna matter.
I'm a firm believer. I mean, I've literally been single for 3 years because I have to focus on me for me. You know
Right
what I
for
mean? Not
you.
for somebody else. Like I've passed up relationships because I have to do this for me and to show my daughter and and my boys, but to do the same for their selves or show my boys that a woman can be independent and grow as a person for themselves, not
Yeah.
just, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's how it should be. Like you shouldn't be doing stuff because and this for both men and women. Not because I
Hmm.
have X amount of degrees or because I have a master's or a PhD is going to like make me a better person or a better partner to you at the end of the day. Like
Hmm.
it has no the two have no correlation between each other.
Mama,
What, honey?
when he mixed up
I'm
the
sorry.
chocolate
You're
on the
fine.
bottom of Jackson's cup, it looked like a heart.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm already done with my clothes.
Okay, good job, buddy. Sorry.
You're fine. Yeah, the two have no correlation to each other though. Like not because you have a master's
Okay.
or a PhD means that you're gonna be like a better partner than a girl that just has her bachelor's. Like
Right, right.
at the end of the day, like compatibility between men and women and you as a person has nothing to do with what degrees you have or don't have. But okay, let's go to the last question. Um so the last question or the statement is going to be true or false. A 25-year-old woman has more prospects for serious long-term relationships than a 35-year-old woman. True or false? What do you honestly feel?
I say false with that, but that's just me personally. I feel like the older I get, when I was married, like I had all that, I, but I feel like I had my marriage, but I feel like now I would have fought a lot harder for that marriage not that like I'm saying I want to be back in that marriage, but I would have fought a lot harder for that marriage and what marriage truly means than I would have when I was 25. You know what I mean? I feel like the older I get, but that's also individually. Some people are different. Like,
And maybe I want to kind of specify that question. So when I say like for more prospects for serious long-term relationships, um, so we have a beautiful 25-year-old woman and we have a beautiful 35-year-old woman.
mm-hmm.
And you know, the man, let's say he's between the ages of 25 and 40. And this man eventually wants to you know, have a family. So, you know, he eventually wants to have children, you know, start a family, get a house, all that good stuff. Do you think do you still think like the 35-year-old woman is going to have more serious prospects in that scenario? Do you think the 25-year-old woman is going to have more serious prospects in that scenario for that type of man? It's different.
Yeah.
It's different because it's different if it's like a 35-year-old man that's childless and he doesn't want children, and maybe he wants an older, quote unquote, more mature woman, even though I don't believe that age and maturity are linked together. I think age and maturity are not linked together because there's people that are older than you and myself and we're more mature than them. And there's also people that are older than us and they're way more mature than we are. But I think when people
Right.
decide that they want to be mature, when they decide that they want to like be wise, then they're gonna do those things. So I don't link the two together. But in that scenario that I just gave you, do you still feel the same way?
Now, like thinking about it, I guess more, I would say probably true. The way you're explaining it, I don't know. I don't know, honestly, with that one. Because I misunderstood it before, so I don't
No,
know.
I didn't include that the first time I asked. That's why I have to make sure that I include that to everyone that I'm going to talk to tonight. Because, like I said, it's different if the guy doesn't want any children and he wants an older woman. It's
Right.
different. But like I said, if he's like between the age of 25 and 40, and he's eventually going to want kids, he's going to eventually want a family, he's going to want a home and things of that nature. Who do you think like is going to have more serious prospects?
It's going to be the youngest one. I mean, it will be.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm just, hey, we're here. And you know what? You know what, Nicole? Those women that like had told me that I basically didn't know what I was talking about last night, they you know, their rebuttals were, you know, with the technology that we have today, there's like, and this is true, right? There's like women can be older and, you know, have natural births, and there's other things women can do to like, you know, have children at a later age, freezing their eggs, surrogates, and things of that nature. But the
Which is
reality,
expensive.
yeah, but the reality, Nicole, is that
Mm-hmm.
most women cannot afford to like freeze their eggs, pay the yearly cost, and the reality is that most women cannot afford surrogacy. That's the reality of
Right.
reality of the matter.
Right.
So we can talk about what could be done and what couldn't be done, but what's the reality of what most people can actually afford to do?
Right. 100%. I mean, they can't afford it. And this is kind of coming from I've been divorced. I have 4 kids and I'm 32 years old and single. You know what I mean? And I've been in about every situation. And I would say everything on your background right there is pretty much true. I mean,
Well,
or
how old were
not
you when
true,
you
but
had your
everything you
first?
said is true.
How old were you? How old were you when you had your first child?
Very young. I got pregnant at 16 and had him at 17.
Okay. How old were you when you had your second and your third?
20, and then my third was twins, and I was 26 when they were born.
Okay. And just answer
So
this honestly. As far as like the childbearing process and the recovery process, were those easier for you when you were younger, or were they easier for you when you were older?
definitely when I was younger. And my first was 10 pounds and 21 and a half inches, and he was easier. The pregnancy was so smooth. He was healthy.
Can't
I
make
mean,
this up.
obviously the twins were hard, but even my daughter 3 years after my son, it got harder the older I got, just the pregnancy alone. So
can't make this up, people.
yeah.
So to all the women that come up here tonight, I want you to tell me otherwise. Because we have a 32-year-old woman here that has 4 children, and she basically said everything up here is true. But Miss Nicole, I appreciate you coming on. I hope you have a great evening. I hope you have a great weekend.
You too.
All
Thank
right,
you.
have a good one.
You too.
All right. Can't make this up. Can't make this up.